I love using acrylic markers to draw with. They're a ton of fun, but I've only ever really used them on paper, and one of the big points of them is that you can use them on pretty much any surface. So today I thought I'd test that out. I love customizing my sketchbook covers with stickers and all that stuff, but I thought I'd try design my own sketchbook covers using the acrylic markers to customize them. So I got these 5 A5 sketchbooks to customize today. I think these covers will hopefully work well for absorbing the acrylic markers compared to the sketchbook I use all the time, which has a really shiny cover and I don't think would work well for this. But before I start actually drawing on the sketchbook covers, it's time to make some thumbnail sketches. These are basically miniature little like mock-ups where you don't put too much detail into it, but just to kind of get down the ideas of what you want to draw. It's super helpful for brainstorming, and also I think it's going to be kind of hard to sketch and erase on the sketchbook covers, so I want to have a good layout and idea of what I'm going to draw on each one before I get started. So we've got 5 sketchbooks I'm going to be customizing, and first up I really want to draw Toji from Jujutsu Kaisen. I've been fancying drawing him for a while, and I saw a really cool reference of him from season 2 of the show that I thought would work amazing for this. I also thought a symbiote Spider-Man would work really well for one of the covers, and also another Jujutsu Kaisen one I want to draw is Gojo. I really want to draw Gojo again. I think I did one recently. It wasn't too good. I think I could do it a bit better. After that, I want to do something from Attack on Titan. Here I was sketching out a drawing I did a while ago, which is Eren Yeager's eyes. And then lastly, I want to draw Tech Jacket from Invincible. I love Invincible, and I definitely want to get one of those characters in there, and he's a really underrated character. I mean, I think there's going to be a lot of fans of him after this new season. And with all the thumbnail sketches done, it was time to go on to start actually sketching and coloring the first sketchbook cover. To start things off, I tried sketching the design with my pencil, but I couldn't see it at all. It just didn't work. So I broke out some colored pencils, and they worked quite a bit better. I could definitely actually see them on the cover. Then once I had a sketch I was happy with, it was time to break out the acrylic markers and give it a go. And when I tried using them, it was a total disaster. They felt like, I know they're made of paint, but they felt so watered down. They weren't really sticking to the cover. If I tried adding a layer on top, it would just scrub off the layer underneath it. It was a total disaster. It was feeling totally impossible, and I wasn't sure if I was actually going to be able to even color this. I mean, look how bad this started to look. But then after doing some research online, I saw that you should sand the cover before trying to color it. So I got some sandpaper and sanded it, even though it was already kind of covered in paint at this point. And then when it was sanded, I went back in and tried to color it again. I'm not sure if it was the sanding or just the sheer amount of layers I'd applied, but it actually started looking really good and it was working. It was definitely easier to apply vibrant colors than more desaturated tones, but I actually managed to make it look really good. I was really chuffed with it. And then the next day, disaster struck because I woke up and a bunch of the paint had chipped off and it was all flaked off and totally ruined. I was pretty devastated by this. After this, I moved on to the next sketchbook, but I made sure to actually sand it first. I was still worried about the paint flaking off and it ruining the whole piece, and then one of my art friends recommended that I should get acrylic gesso paint, which is kind of like a primer you can apply. So I ordered it, but it won't arrive until I do the next sketchbook. So for this one, I'm just going to sand it and hope it works out. When I was coloring Symbiote Spidey for this one, I thought a nice blue would work well for the costume, and I tried adding a purple for the shadow, but it was not the right move, so I ended up just covering it with black, which worked way better. Then after I added some highlights, I added a background, which I just did quite a simple red. It took a few layers, but this came out looking really good. I'm actually super happy with how this second one came out. It's quite simple and bold, but I think that's what works well for one of these sketchbook covers. And after I sanded it first, it didn't flake at all. Because of this, I got a bit bold and I decided to just sand and start sketching and drawing the next one. So I sanded it, sketched it, but then I was like, no, I'm actually going to wait for the primer to arrive before I do this. And 24 hours later, the primer was here, so I sanded the cover again, and I sanded the covers of the 2 other sketchbooks, and then I applied a couple layers of this white acrylic gesso to all of them and let them dry fully. Once they were dried, I started sketching on the first one and I could use my normal pencil again. It sat on the acrylic paint so easily, which was really helpful for sketching it out. I felt like I could be a lot more accurate, and it was just nice to use the pencil I'm familiar with again. Once I was happy with this sketch of Gojo on the cover, which was pretty tricky to do. It's quite a hard angle, this way he's kind of looking back at you. But it was time to start coloring again, and immediately the acrylic markers sat so nicely on top of the acrylic paint primer. I wish I got this from the start. I mean, I was kind of being a bit lazy cutting corners, but this really helped a lot. it was just so much smoother and they immediately stuck to it. The only slight issue is you could see the kind of ridges from like the brush strokes, if that makes sense. The light would kind of catch them. But honestly, after a few layers, it doesn't really bother me too much. It's just kind of like, I don't know, it's like a wood texture, I guess, as if you're painting on wood. But yeah, I don't know, it didn't really bother me at all. It just made such a massive difference because on the Toji one, I must have done like 10 layers of paint for each different color in it. But this one or 2 layers and it looked pretty great. Another thing that was kind of an issue, but I really like how it looked on this one, is the lines are quite thick. Because I'm using the acrylic black marker for the kind of inking, because the fine liners that I would use would just kind of scrape away the paint and just not really work how I wanted it to look. So it was really hard not to make the lines too thick with the acrylic brush. They still looked pretty thick. But on some ones like this Gojo drawing, I think it actually looks pretty good. Is other ones where I'm not so sure how much I like it. But there we have the finished Gojo sketchbook cover. I love how this one turned out. It's definitely one of my favorites. I really like the coloring for the skin tones. It's so vibrant. And I like the purple outline I used for the hair as well. And the nice simple background. I think it all works really nicely together. After that, I made this Invincible tech jacket one, which was actually a real struggle, but it came out pretty cool. The only thing I'd say is I'd maybe have made the head a little bit bigger, like with the laser cannon. But this one came out really cool. If you want to see me make it, I posted a short of me making it. Maybe you came from the short though, I don't know. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I do love how this one turned out as well. Now it's time for the last sketchbook. And originally I was going to do Eren Yeager's eyes from Attack on Titan. But I instead decided to try draw like a side profile of Wolverine. This was really challenging. I was kind of messing up with the proportions at first here, and you can't really erase the sketches on the sketchbook covers, so it was like, it just started getting pretty messy, and it was really, really hard to get this one right. I was using a couple references. I don't know why I struggled with it so much. These side profiles can be very challenging though, but I just kept going till eventually I was kind of happy with it. Then it was time to start coloring Wolverine, and I started with kind of like the most vibrant colors. I laid down a dark blue and a yellow, and then I laid down the light orangish pink color that's the shadow for the face first, knowing that I'd add the lighter part on top, and it was all coming together pretty nicely. Customizing these sketchbooks was a lot of fun. I think I want to customize more stuff, so comment down below if you want to see me customize more sketchbooks, or I don't know, any other ideas you guys might have. I've seen people customize their PlayStation 5s, which is pretty cool. Maybe I could do something like that, although that does feel a bit high risk. But let me know what else you'd want to see me customize if you enjoyed this type of thing. I quite liked how this one was looking, but when I was outlining it with the acrylic brush pen, this is what I was on about with the inking lines being a bit too thick, and I feel like it kind of ruined it. But I just ended up leaving it as it was. Maybe I could have tried fixing it, but how thick the outline was just really threw me off with this one, and I just don't like it at all. Turned out alright, but it's probably my least favourite. And here we have all 5 sketchbooks I customized for this video. This was really challenging, but I think these came out not too bad. There was a bit of learning along the way. Let me know which sketchbook was your favourite, and thanks so much for watching.